this product is really core to what we do.
There is no better way to get in touch with the latest innovation solution in the sphere of combating climate change than investing in products like this.
The Nordea Climate and Environment Fund gives you the possibility to invest in solutions addressing the climate and environmental challenges we are facing today.
We can tackle the problems of today with solutions and products that make economic sense. That's powerful. The Climate and Environment Fund offers attractive investment opportunities centered around three main focus areas. The innovators, really covering companies in young industries with huge potential. The optimizers, really companies focusing on getting more for less. And adapters, companies that provide solutions and product for a cleaner world.
The adapters are working within environmental protection and are engaged in clean water and air, waste management and environmental services. The optimizers is the sector working with resource efficiency, such as eco-mobility, intelligent construction and agro and biofuels. The innovators is the alternative energy sector, covering areas like renewable power and solar and wind.
Climate responsibility in these companies is not a piece of paper, it's rather product and service they provide on the market to make it more efficient, so you and I and our clients and many of others can actually take a benefit of that.
We have two fantastic people running the product, and they are supported by our broad analytical platform, where we have some people who are really digging into the details of the companies and the regions and what's going on the regulatory front.
The Climate and Environment Fund is supported by a strong global infrastructure.
We have what I believe is world-class infrastructure here at Nordea. And in addition to the pure infrastructure, we have colleagues spanning multiple asset classes. So when we look at a company, we typically have the equity focus. We have colleagues on the other side of the organization which have a very strong understanding of the credit side. So we have a good dialogue with them, and it really brings out a lot of synergies for us.
Investing in one of these products is actively investing in solution providers on a global level. The world that we want to leave to our children is the world where the companies are integrated part of the solution.
Han har tidligere advart nordmenn mot å putte sparepengene i oljeaksjer. Ta vel imot leder for ansvarlige investeringer i Nordea, Sasja Beslik.
Thank you very much. It's fantastic to be here. It's a fantastic venue, it's a fantastic conference, a lot of interesting speeches. And our message to Paris and our message to you is clear. As a financial institution, we are ready. We are ready to take the responsibility with our investments to contribute to create sustainable future. What we've done for the last 7, 8 years in Nordea is to change the narrative of investments. You see, we live in a world that has built a narrative, a story about what is it about. It's about profits. It's about short-termism. It's about contributing to something that we will consume next year. Maybe the longest period of time will be the year after that. We want to change that. We want to change it by changing the narrative, saying that we as a financial institution, we are ready when we are part of the solution going forward, where we, through our investments, create the world that we are not only proud of, but we can actually leave in a good hands of a future generation that will come after us. Why is this important? Looking at Europe, every time, I travel 160 days per year. I visit companies in different places all over the world. Every time I come back to Europe, it's like coming back to a museum. This is how we could live some time ago. The times are changing. The rapid growth and the changes and transitions all over the world are creating such a swift changes, such a fast changes that will impact the way how we live, how we can grow companies, how we can deliver returns, and also how we can create the sustainable future going forward. 1/3 of everybody living in this planet will live in 2 countries 25 years from now. Demographic changes that are taking place right now both in China and India, but also in Europe, will change and shift the way how companies operate, what solutions we need, in what way we need to develop them, and how we as investors can contribute to that. These changes will have immense impact on us as a financial institutions regarding how we can invest, how we can create profit and return for the products and for our customers. But there is an interesting story about the profits. You know, there is always a myth or the narrative or story about responsible investments being less profitable investments than other investments, the mainstream investments. That's a lie, and we have a proof. We've been testing for the last year investments in the companies that we deem as responsible and compare that with the companies that we deem as irresponsible in a short period of time. The performance that you can get out on both 5 and 10 years perspective is 1.5% higher on the companies that are more responsible. Of course, that is related to volatility, it's related to stability of the companies and many other things. But this is not given. It needs to be done and it needs to be worked with and dealt with. This narrative that we worked with in Nordea for the last 7-8 years has led us to the conclusion that the way forward for us in this short-termism, in the time when we need to be long-sighted, in a time when we need to look forward not only 5 years, but 10, 20 years, in order to provide solution, has led us to the conclusion that we need to integrate and develop our investment routines and the way how we actually select companies we invest in. On the basis of this insight, we have developed a process and an analysis model where we integrate environmental and social information in all investment decisions we make on any product we sell to our clients. Why is this important? Yes, it is important because we are here for the long term. We don't believe that the short-termism and the way how narrative is today, both on the discussion on renewable energy and many other things, profits tomorrow or profits next year, that's not important. What is important is to be a stable player on the market, being able to deliver returns to customers in a sustainable and responsible manner for the next 5, 10, 20 years. Next year, it doesn't matter. The biggest challenge for climate change is short-termism. The climate change is a consequence of ideology and a philosophy of ever-growing markets with the growth pace that is 11, 12, 13, 14% every year. That's not possible in the long term. Short-termism has also led us to the discussion that everything we do today, as somebody said in the beginning today, needs to be calculated in the financial terms. Yes, that is correct, because we need to get people to work with us to achieve this target of becoming more sustainable and more responsible. But this particular fact that we need to deliver these returns on a yearly basis is not going to lead to sustainable development. We need to change that narrative. And we need clients, you and many others, to understand that sustainable investment, sustainable development, achievement of goals in Paris, paramount of this is related that we need to change the way how we see growth. We need to change the way how we see long-term, and we definitely need to change the way how financial sector plays in regarding the negotiations in Paris. Imagine the world where you would see 136 CEOs of the biggest bank in the world in Paris negotiating climate. Imagine the outcome. And imagine the fact that all the head of states negotiating in Paris will have to go back home and negotiate with the head of these banks in order to achieve the targets they set together. There is only one true global citizen in the world today, right now, and that's money. It has no religion, no ethnicity, no national borders. It works all over the world. And it can bring about the change much faster than any other national legislation on the planet right now. Imagine the world where we can get financial allocating money in more responsible way. How fast and swift we could actually reallocate with what we deem being irresponsible to what we deem being responsible in the long term. In Nordea, we believe that we can actually be one of the players on the financial markets bringing about this change with a new narrative saying that yes, we are part of the solution, and yes, we need to be a long term, And the products and the services we develop need to be related to integrating environmental and social issues in every investment decision we make. Do we need to argument for that? I mean, the speaker before me had the Dieselgate, we had the BP gate, we had so many other gates for the last 5-10 years where companies lost reputation, they lost money, and they lost ability to deliver returns to us because they were irresponsible, because they were too much focused on the short term. The next generation of companies, the next innovators, the next financial institutions who need to partner for future are not the ones seeing environmental and social and climate issues as isolated elements of add-on in the financial or economic theory. These are the companies that develop with the nature, with the conditions that actually lead us and them to create something that is much bigger than a short term and much bigger than the profit on a 1 or 2 years perspective. Being ready for Paris, inviting you as a customers and stakeholders to be part of that journey, we want to develop our products even more. We want to develop solutions, but we also want to develop discussion about how we can get the financial muscle to work for us. And the last thing before ending is just saying that ecological bananas, the organic meat, the Teslas that you need to sell, electric cars to 550 million new middle-class members of India and China that will come into the warmth of our society in the next 20 years, of course the price will go down. That's not going to solve it. We need to use financial muscles we have. We have a fantastic system that can reallocate resources in a much more efficient way, but we need to start using it. And our message to Paris, and our message to politicians that we lobby, and our message to organizations we work with is we want to be a part of the solution. Join us in that. Ask us questions. Get on that journey. Put a pressure on us to develop even better products, to be even more responsible. As a part of that, Nordea has last year taken a couple of decisions excluding the coal companies from our investments, from all of our investments, but also doing something else, which I think is more important. The coal is one thing. It's about excluding coal. But what about including all the other parameters that we can identify best companies in the world so we can provide this return in a responsible way? For us, it's all about that. Our mission is clear. Our message is clear. We're ready. And what we want to provide and what we want to give now and next 25, 30 years is returns with responsibility. Thank you very much.